Bulls on Tap. Your one stop for all your Chicago Bulls needs. Hosted by Alejandro Delgado and Trey Ruff.
What's up, guys? Welcome to the Bulls on Tap pod. Host Alejandro. Again, Trey Ruff could not make it, but we still have Duncan filling in. Duncan, how are you feeling today?
I'm doing well. Had a good overall holiday. How are you doing?
Good. Like, the holidays were great. Had good food.
Yeah.
Kind of I always have to do a mission to go see all my family. Just go house to house to house.
Oh, gotcha.
But so it's definitely an experience to do, but I can't complain.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I also had a lot of food and watched a lot of football. So overall, pretty good. And the Bears won, which was great.
Oh, that's always great. That's always good news to hear. I'm a casual football fan, so I'm gonna bandwagon every time the Bears are good.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I'm not as in tune, but I do watch every game, so it's been a fun year for them.
And then, in contrast, we see our Bulls almost being the sacrifice to make sure the Bears are good. Only so much star power to go around, where the Bulls have to take the short end of the stick, while the Bears, they're looking like a Super Bowl team, maybe.
Yeah, we will see about the Bears, but yeah, man. The last time I was on this podcast, we were talking about how the Bulls need to probably win these next couple of games on their schedule, and instead they've dropped every single one. And so we are currently on our second 5-game losing streak, and man, we face Indiana on Friday, and I honestly don't know if that's even going to end there. It's looking pretty rough right now.
Oh my! It's a free for all. It's a spiral. You see everyone not invested. You see, almost like I was at the game last night. It almost felt like, all right, let's everyone just take turns and try something, like throwing it at the wall until something sticks. You see P. Will trying to be DeMar, or we're letting Vooch do his best Hakeem impression.
Oh my god!
I just couldn't take it. At a certain point, I just started booing. I know probably I shouldn't have, but it's getting to a point where you can't look. You have to look away. This is getting ugly.
I mean, when I think the players would even boo themselves, I don't blame you if you started booing, because this last game against the Nets. This is just an unacceptable loss with how they lost. Yeah, the Bulls are missing guys, but I still think that this Bulls team should have been better than this Nets team last night. The Nets are, they have Michael Porter Jr. and Nick Claxton is like they're kind of only two like solidified players, and I just think that a lot of those players that we saw, many first round picks this past draft, they're really unproven, and so to see that this Bulls team just was not anywhere close to being better than them was pretty shocking. And yes, I understand people are out, but it's not a good look right now when the other core that's going on over there for the Brooklyn Nets, they just completely were able to outplay just the Bulls team entirely.
Like, we just signed Giddey this offseason to be the guy. This is not even to, talk down on Giddey or anything like that. But he's our main focal point, so it shouldn't be an excuse to why we lose. And it's not like, okay, we lost to the Pistons, an actual healthy Pistons team, or the Knicks, anything like we lost to a team that's actively trying to lose, who wants a loss every time. So it just doesn't make sense as a team who has playoff aspirations, who's coming off of a play-in appearance, to just get embarrassed off the floor.
Yeah, and unfortunately, this has been the case in this 5-game losing streak. Like the loss to Orlando, like I can accept that. Like I think we can understand that one. Orlando, even without Banchero, I think Orlando has shown like they've been better recently, and they're. I mean, I projected them to be top 4 in the East. They haven't been that yet, but I project them to be a pretty solid team. But lost to Charlotte before that, lost to Indiana before that, which I have a lot of gripes about that loss. Then the loss to Charlotte, we gave up 123 points, which was our last game where we gave up 120 points consecutively, that was the 11th game in a row, I believe, or maybe it was the 12th. But then the previous one before that was to New Orleans, and you give 143. And so it's either that you're giving up 120 points, like we saw in like these Charlotte or New Orleans losses, or in this Brooklyn loss or this Indiana loss, like the Bulls aren't scoring more than 103 points. So it's both sides of the ball now. It's not just, the defense has been pretty awful. It's, the defense has not really been that great. And even in this Brooklyn game, I don't think it was that good. But Brooklyn's a bad overall team. But the offense can't find a way to score against a 29th ranked defense is disgustingly bad to see.
It just doesn't. It's awful because at a certain point, when are we gonna start talking about guys not belonging in the lead? Like Patrick Williams can't dribble the ball. Dalen Terry, these are all what I like to call theoretical, hypothetical, potential players. Their value is only in the future, not now. They're not. Right now is their chance. Guys are hurt. You should be stepping up. You should, full advantage of this opportunity. I know what's going to happen. I know my role. I know the way we want to play. They've been on the team for years now. And you're telling me they still can't get it together? They're still trying to do stuff that isn't there? What's going on? What's the point? Like, why are you even on the court if you can't contribute? Because Emmanuel Miller looks a lot better than, I would say, the whole trifecta. He was actually there. He got steals in the passing lanes. His shot looked fluid, active on defense. Hopefully that sticks. But when a guy on a two-way contract is out here out hustling you, that's not an excuse. You're trying to play for a net steal. I don't want to hear stuff about, well, Billy Donovan said this or Billy Donovan hurt my feelings. You're in the NBA living your dream. You paid millions of dollars, whether you're not the top guy, not the biggest contract, but you want your next one. This is your job. Go out and perform.
And I mean, one of the players you mentioned is Dalen Terry. He has every incentive to be good this season. This is his last year of his rookie deal. So, now I think he had a pretty decent fourth quarter in terms of defensively. There was even an argument to not even take him out in that next game in the fourth, and we should have probably went small and taken out Vooch instead. But even before that, though, it was just I know Dalen's also had some injury issues, but it's just been inconsistent finishing around the rim. It's no 3-point shot still that is any sort of consistency. And he's been around for a while. I mean, he's a first-round pick and was DeMar's son when DeMar was here, but that hasn't really done much for him so far. So, hey, we're about 20-ish games into the year. Now's your chance for a lot of these guys, and I'm losing faith by the day because if you can't really perform against some of the worst teams in the Eastern Conference, then I don't know when you're ever going to perform. I'm going to need you to perform at some point against some of these bad teams. So, this next game against Indiana is another opportunity to go out and play one of the worst teams in the league and show you know what, I can hang at least with these guys. And hopefully then he can try to get some more minutes. I think Julian Phillips kind of gave some effort and he was in the starting lineup last night, but his production's been kind of so unfortunately as well. But he's also a second round pick. So I don't know how we kind of gauge that, but I will say, at least at this moment in time, I trust Phillips more than Terry out there. At least Phillips, I can kind of hope that he'll get some offensive rebounds for us.
No, I agree. He knocks down threes. He hustles. His frame is too thin, which I don't like at this point.
Yeah.
But at least his jump shot's there, and he's fighting over screens. Even he's not the best at navigating, but he's there. But then add insult to injury. Our veterans are just falling off a cliff. Vucevic is reverting back to temper tantrum Vooch when he played with DeMar and Levine. Javon Carter's just too little. He was getting destroyed by Brooklyn every time he was out there. He looked like a boy amongst men, just looking up. He looked shorter than me. Like, what's going on?
Yeah. And when your vets, especially the vet that called out the team, says that, like, we got to be better, and he's not showing it on the court. He's not giving you the defensive effort. I don't know, man. It really it looks like the locker room's not really together at all. And that's when things really start to spiral. The vibes are not good. And I don't know. It doesn't seem like that they're trusting the so-called leader of, at least the players' leader they're not really trusting him right now. And why should they? He's been like Vucevic, unfortunately, especially in November, has been extremely inconsistent. I should say since November. And I hate to say this on this podcast, but like I have to just call this out. The post up for Vucevic needs to just stop. Like I'm gonna be adamant about this until maybe the day I die. But when it comes to many Bulls people in the community, and I'm not going to name names, but it's just that when I keep hearing, but we need to get Vooch, we need to post up Vooch because that's what we were doing to start the season, and like he's been a great post player, like it's a good idea. Meanwhile, I'm looking at the stats right now, NBA.com. Vucevic is averaging 0.72 points per possession per post up. That is in the 7th percentile in the league. He's shooting 41% on post ups. Like he is arguably one of the worst post players in the league. And the post game in the league in general is not something that you really see a lot unless your name is Nikola Jokic, or if you're a really good guard that can do it. But like, if you're wondering if he's getting post-up touches, he's getting more post-up touches than Luka Doncic. It's just nearly the same as like he's getting just below Jaren Jackson Jr., but he's just worse than everybody. So I'm sorry, y'all. Like if you're a post-up fan, there needs to be something changed with your mindset because that's not what we need to do. Vooch needs to just set good screens, space the floor effectively, pass well, and roll hard at the rim and make himself a big target down low when he sets a screen and rolls. That's what he's done all season long. That's been effective for him. But in that Brooklyn game, I felt like we had 6 post-ups at bare minimum, and all it does is slow down the offense. It clogs the paint. And, oh, by the way, you're posting up Nick Claxton, who's a very good shot blocker. Why are you doing this? Like, there's just many other things you can go and do instead of posting up Nick Claxton, especially with one of the worst post players in the league. So there's just other things, man.
Oh, my God. Like, one thing I saw last night that had me ripping my hair out was Vooch was posting up close to the free throw line. This was at the second half. So then Io, cuts baseline. For some reason, everyone says that Vooch is such an underrated passer, but that's not true. Mm-hmm. He's not hitting him to cut. I get he sees the vision. I get he has the mental thought process, but if the execution isn't there, how good are you? At the top of the key, sure. When he's not in the post, there's all right. He can hit a few dimes, he can throw, but it's not there. And I agree. Like a post up is a superstar move. We see it with Ant in the playoffs. See it with Shea. See, like it is a star move. You have to be a certain caliber of player to be allowed to do that, to slow down the game at that point. But he's not that. And on top of it, the past 3 games, he's been averaging 30.8% from the 3-point range. Like, what if your shot's not falling and you can't? It's not even. This is more by design than I will just blame it on Vooch. When they run the pick and roll, everyone knows what they're doing. No one's going to do the pick and pop. Giddey's not settling for a jumper. They're both going to the rim together. So everybody's hands in the passing lane, and that's an automatic turnover, which is, again, it's not just Vooch's fault.
No.
Even though he needs to pop out more or at least settle for that mid-range jumper because Billy Donovan didn't tell him to throw it in the trash. But you're not a defensive player and your scoring isn't working. So what is going on? Because the team's built to run and gun, but you're slowing it down through a post-up. It's just the truth.
Right. And
you can't.
Yeah.
Mhm.
He's not shooting his threes either well, so like that's obviously a big issue. But I mean, for all the people that say like, "Oh, we need to get him going though down low," I'm like, no, like his job is to shoot threes. Like that's his job isn't to post up. His job is to shoot threes. That's the whole point of the 5-out offense is to make that Vooch is shooting threes. And so it's just up to him. He just has to play better. It just comes down to that. Like I think he airballed a 3 in that Nets game, right? Like it was wide open and it just airballed it. Like it's like that's unacceptable. We just can't have that.
And then I don't understand the motivation talks. These are grown men. Vooch is a family in his 30s at the end of his contract has said he would like another one. That should be motivation enough. We're not. No, I don't want to hear. Oh my gosh, they're not. This isn't you and your friends playing the rec on NBA 2K. This is the Basketball Association. Play like it. Play like this is your job. I get it. There's sometimes you get frustrated. Guys aren't doing what they're supposed to. But if you're not making it, if you're sitting and pouting, what are you going to do? You've been on losing teams throughout your entire career. Go and do something. Go and actually perform. Shots not falling, you can do something else. You could try to do something else. And like I said, a lot of it sometimes isn't by design, but given how relaxed Billy is with veterans compared to younger players, it shouldn't be. I'd imagine it's not that difficult for him to want to switch things up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like you said, like, and this goes for everybody, but like shots not falling, rebound better because hell, we could use it right now, man. Like please go and get more rebounds, or hey, let's. I mean, I know it's just like in general, like try defensive, but like I don't think all the pick and roll defense is on Vucevic, but he can in some instances still try better, on just trying to be a better defender in the pick and roll, but. Yeah, man. There's other things you can do, and instead of just pouting like how we've been seeing a little bit recently, and I think it really does kind of throw the team for a little bit of a loop because a lot of these guys are young, and so when you see the vet is like he's just seeing red, it's like, oh man, like I don't know how guys maybe respond to that, and they're kind of like a little bit of deer in the headlights of like, well, what do we do now? And I looked to Billy to try to maybe get that better, but. I'm also aware this is, a little bit of a younger team, but at the same time, I do think that there's been a lot of these guys have been they're in their second contract in the NBA, and I would hope that the leadership is better from maybe some of those guys that can help a Buzelis in a sense, or help some of the guys still on the rookie deals. So there's a lot to go around, I think, when it comes to this whole Bulls team of like, I think it's not just one person. This entire team needs to kind of maybe look in the mirror and be like, we got to step it up as a whole. You take this little bit of leadership, you take this bit, and just let's find a way to just put a better effort on the floor. I'm not asking for wins maybe right now, but I just want to see something better than what I've been seeing instead of one of the worst teams in the league.
Yeah, exactly. Like it leads to our next topic of who's to blame. But just to piggyback off what you said, it's getting a good look in the mirror. Okay, I'm not the best at handling the ball, and it hasn't been working out. And now we're the 11th in the Eastern Conference, behind the Milwaukee Bucks, where their star player doesn't even want to be there, which we'll talk about later. But what can I do well to generate wins? Who can I lean on to, let's say, handle the ball? Okay, I'm not good at playmaking, not the best at passing, but what can I do? Can I read the passing lanes? We're stuck in offensive boards. Can I go and get them? Can I box out and have someone else do it? These little niche things go a long way, and it's just being honest with yourself. It's not just about a bucket.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot to kind of look at with the players, and I do want to hit on like the others that are involved in all this. Like, we have listed as like, is it the injuries, right? And I do think that the injuries have played some role in it, but I don't think that this Bulls team should be losing to some of the worst teams in the league, even with the injuries. Because reminder to everybody that Kobe played in that Pelicans game, L. Kobe also played in that Hornets game. That was also an L. And the Bulls were pretty healthy in both those games. So I don't want to hear injuries when it comes to them. Magic game, I can understand maybe a bit of the injuries, but like again, even in this game, I'm like, no, you should be better than Brooklyn. I feel like this is probably rock bottom for this Bulls team because this is another L to a team with 4 wins or less coming into the game. So I personally, at least in my opinion, like every team's dealing with injuries. We're not the only team. I don't personally blame injuries. That's just my opinion when it comes to this. I just think I look at the guys. I'm like, there's still enough here for you to go and play better. Then we get to the front office, and then there's Billy. And I have my very specific thoughts that I share on my own YouTube channel about these individuals, but the way I kind of describe it is just like, my typical say is like, 2 things could always be true, which is that I think that Ryan Surf is a bad owner, but I also think that the front office has been given enough to actually make a good team. So in my opinion, like, yes, obviously Ryan Surf's always going to be the one to blame, but like, I do think that this is a poorly constructed roster. And I do think that, the front office deserves a lot of blame. They also thought that their depth was a lot better than it is, so that's their fault. However, I also think that Billy does deserve some of this blame, and that's not to say that I think this team is supposed to be anything great, but it's to say with Billy that there are definitely some decisions, man, and people are going to disagree with me on some of these, but there's just some decisions, especially late game, that I just don't understand. I don't know about you, but I want to hear your opinion on this. So in that Pacers game, for example, the Bulls were they were up by 1, and then Vooch missed the hook shot. Or sorry, they're down by 1, excuse me. And Vooch missed the hook shot. And so the Pacers got the rebound. And so we had to foul intentionally, and we sent Andrew Nembhard's in the line, okay? Well, Nembhard goes up. He misses the first free throw. I'm like, okay. So now we have to make sure we get the rebound if he happens to miss it. And so what does Billy Donovan decide to do? He decides to put in none other than Patrick Williams to be put on the rebounding line. And he decided to take out Montes Buzelis and put him on the perimeter behind the 3-point line for the free throw. Meanwhile, Buzelis has 11 rebounds for that game. Patrick has 2, and Patrick Williams has never been a good rebounder in his career. Like, I don't understand that decision. That's just one of those things where it's just like, that's on Billy. I'm sorry.
Side note to add on, Montes Buzelis has been averaging 7.3 rebounds the past 3 games, meaning that, like, okay, he took that as a sign. All right, you want me to rebound? I will show you I can rebound.
Yeah.
And he's generally averaged, I think, more than Pat anyway. Like, it's not that hard. It's not that hard to do. But that entire sequence pissed me off. I'm like, why? We had 10 seconds left. 10 seconds. You can't draw up a play for 10 seconds. It needs to be Vooch trying to be clutch man again. Vooch, no, can you draw up a play? I would have given, even if it was a giddy isolation or an IO, we're down by 1. You could try to foul bait, do something. And why are we bringing in Patrick Williams in? At this point, what could he have developed into something under the right situation? Maybe. But it's year 6. We got to move on. It is what it is. Yeah. That severance package of the 5-year deal, you could coast with it on the bench. That was hard to watch. I knew, like, right when he gave him the ball and decided to go for it wasn't a play. It was just Vooch trying to go for the shot. Like, yes, you've been clutch.
Jay Huff, all of people. Like, it was over
Jay Huff. Oh my God, Jay Huff in my nightmares. Jesus, I don't know why he does this. I don't want this just to be bashing Vooch because there's so much more into it. Like, in OKC, Giddey was known as the slob wizard. We'll see Mark Dadenall drop all these plays to the sideline out of bounds. You have the slob wizard here, and we've never utilized it. We've never utilized it to run something. He's just inbounding the ball. All right, let's just get the ball inbounds, not actually run something to get someone a shot.
Right.
At least get that. But no, you just threw it high up for Vooch to catch and try to make magic happen when that's, unfortunately, it's not always going to work.
Yeah. And to add on to just like Billy's bad decisions, like he then, I mean, this is, I don't know how people view this, but like what, in my opinion, this is just always me. When I'm on the road and I can either go for the 2 and go to overtime or hope we go to overtime or go for the 3 and try to escape out with a win. I go for the three. That's just always what I've done. But what really made me upset, though, is that so Nembhard makes the second free throw. So we're down by 2, and there's about 11 seconds left remaining. And so then Billy draws up a nice play. I'll give him that credit. And Trey Jones got the layup out of it. But there were still 7.5 seconds left remaining, and you only went for the 2. You didn't go for the 3. You went for the 2. And so that basically puts the Pacers in the position of, we get to play with house money. We're at home. If I miss this next shot, we go to overtime at home. Like that's a great situation for them. But I'm just thinking to myself, like, well, if you're going to go for the 2, then go for it with like no time left so you can actually force overtime. But instead, you went for the 2, allowed the Pacers, who had a timeout left remaining, to advance the ball with 7.5 seconds left remaining, and then Siakam hits the shot at the end. Like, that to me is just, in my head, that doesn't make any sense to me. You completely mismanaged the clock in that sort of instance. And, that's just one instance of it. But I also do think that when your coach is not maybe making the right decisions, or you're kind of questioning some things, it's like, that's how you lose a locker room quickly. And especially with these younger players right now who maybe they don't really know who to listen to fully. It's like, oh, well, that guy just made a pretty bad decision that maybe lost us the game here. Like, I don't know. That doesn't really feel too good for us. And that's when you start tuning people out, maybe. And we're speculating. I'm not going to, come out and be like, oh, I know, like, this is what's happening. But there's been a lot of instances, and like, not just in that Pacers game, but in previous games, that I was like, I don't like what Billy's decisions are here. Didn't ride with a hot hand to end games, like that Cavs game where Jalen Smith had a perfect game, 18 and 11 in like 18 minutes, and then he didn't see the floor for the last 9 minutes of that Cavs game. That doesn't make any sense to me. And Vooch was awful that day. So, yeah.
To piggyback off what you said earlier, I just remembered the Bulls spent their entire training camp playing with a 14-second shot clock. So you mean to tell me you don't have anything to like fit into that time slot given at the end, where you could try to go for the 3, where you could cut something maybe for a 3 as one of the most high volume 3-point shooting teams in the league? You're telling me you don't have that? You can't. You just, okay, we're going to see what happens. We'll go for it. You can't think of anything that creative. And I know people are going to, like, the counter arguments are going to be, well, it's easy to blame the coach when the personnel is not there. The front office isn't giving them the right players. But come on. You're saying, oh my God. Like, you're saying guys aren't talented enough. So aren't you going to do more to circumvent that?
Mm-hmm.
I get you're not on the court. I get there's only so much you can do. It's not. I always am anti-motivating. You're getting paid millions of dollars. You don't need your coach to give you the hoorah speech. But you need to be smart. You need to have an advantage, as you've been out-coached plenty of times.
Yeah.
We saw early on Claxton was guarding Giddey. Like, that easily just shut him down for majority of the game against Brooklyn. Like, mind you, he had another triple-double, but...
Yeah, that was early on in the game, it was like that, yeah. But Giddey found a way later, but yeah.
They by then, they already had their giant lead, and nobody else could actually buy a bucket to stay alive.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah.
It just...
It comes down to like strategy, right? Like that, like what you. This isn't about like, oh, Billy's trying to get these guys to motivate or anything. It's just like, no, it's about like, can you actually form the right strategies and help your guys, right?
Mm-hmm. Like making the tough decision. Vooch, you're playing like garbage out there. Like, you gotta go out. You gotta have a seat, because this isn't working. This is not doing it. And I can't. I don't know, where do we go from here at this point. I'm lost, because it's easy when the guys begin to seem like, yeah, it's easy to play with each other. We all get along off the court. We hang out. We talk about how we like doing this, and that. We're all the same age. But when times get rough, you're looking at each other. That all goes out the door when you're losing. You start questioning. Yup. Can you ride through that? And so far, they haven't. They have not. That's what it looks like to me.
Yeah, once it all, I don't know if it was that Pistons L or if it was just like whatever L it was, but there's definitely, I would say, like, because there was someone in my chat that brought up a good point last night of like Vooch had that post game press conference over the Wizards, right, when we had that 1-point win. And like, Jalen Smith's like jumping up and down, like Buzelis is doing the same thing, but like Vooch is like, no, get off me, like come on, like I want to talk, and he was publicly calling out the team, and it just like it does make me think like I'm sure they've had some of these discussions earlier because like before that, I mean the day before they just got wrecked by Miami, they gave up 143 points, like I mean I'm sure that they weren't happy about that, and so I'm trying to think like they probably had that sort of discussion, but like I don't know what exactly led Vooch to just suddenly voicing that publicly, because it does make me start to think that there's maybe some turmoil going on, and guys are really not together, coming in. So good news here, I guess. Maybe if the Bulls are going to try to fix some stuff, like you have the Pacers on Friday, you have Golden State without Steph Curry on Sunday, but after that you're going to have 4 days off. So like I better hear that the Bulls practice, because I know that they don't really practice that much in today's NBA, but like this team needs practice. Like
practice. We're talking about practice.
I mean, I know it's ridiculous, but it's just like, I mean, very clearly these guys don't know how to really play defense effectively. So might as well get some time in the gym.
I hope so. Do something. You can't keep doing the same thing. We can't. That's why everyone is questionable at this point. Every single person, part of the organization's in question.
Yeah.
Billy, why do you keep allowing the Vucevic post-ups? Billy, why are you not doing good rotations? Or why isn't X, Y, and Z player closing out? Because at one point or another, each of them just don't close out. They just stare. All right, let's see if he makes it or misses it. They make it most of the time, even if they have a terrible 3-point percentage.
Mm-hmm.
I know I've been at loss of words this entire podcast, but it's true. I don't have anything really to say in terms of where. Let me ask you. How can we fix this? Because we have Noah Senye hurt. We have Anthony Davis, Giannis rumors, injuries flying everywhere. What can we do? How can we fix this?
Yeah, so I think personally, like just where the Bulls have put themselves, like I say like they put themselves in a really bad corner. And it's a whole combination of it, but because of where they put themselves, I think honestly the best way for them moving forward is like this season looks lost already. I kind of wish that we didn't even start on a 5-0 winning streak because it would have just kind of made things a little more clear. But I mean, like I don't know if you think this Bulls team is still good, then I'm just gonna be heavily disagreeing with you. But I'll respect the opinion, I guess. But I think you need to just go ahead and lose out the rest of the season. Like this team has been at the bottom of all the stats like since November hit, and I'm like, well, okay, I don't think this is unfortunately just a rough month or whatever into now obviously December, but it's been consistent losing and a lot of terrible defense, and I think the team severely still lacks young talent, and so my personal recommendation at this point, especially after that Nets loss, is like just worry about developing the young guys from here on out. Just play Buzelis as much as possible. I don't care if he makes mistakes. Like he has sloppy turnovers. I don't care. Like just let him continue to do that. Like just let him figure it out. Like him against Orlando, I thought was a really positive sign because he's facing Jonathan Isaac and a good amount against Orlando, and he did a good job. Like he was able to figure it out and find ways to counter certain guys, and it wasn't always any in a positive result, but like he was finding ways to create space and create layups for himself against a very good defensive team. And that should be the priority from here on out. Play these young guys as much as possible. Don't worry about the results anymore. And honestly, I hate to say it because I'm very much anti usually about this. Like I don't like doing this usually, but because of where the Bulls are at, I think you need to tank the rest of the season. And just you're not going to get to like the top of like the tank standings. But what you can do is right now you're currently 12th right now. So your odds of a number 1 overall pick are 1.5%. The odds of a top 4 are 7.1%. Like, what you can do though is you can try to increase those odds. So, like for example, Dallas right now is listed 8th, and they have like a 6% chance of a number 1 overall pick. I think Dallas is trying to win this season. So I think you could get below Dallas, and they have 8 wins on the year. Like, just having one less win with a couple more losses would put the Bulls at 8th right now in the tank standings, and that would increase their number 1 overall pick odds by 5.5%, or sorry, 4.5%. Like, that I think is worth it. And it's because the Bulls don't have any extra picks right now. They just have their own. And so if you only have your own, then in my opinion, you might as well just try to get the best odds for yourselves and hope you get one of these top guys in this, what people are calling a very stacked draft. I'm not a draft expert, but it's apparently going to be pretty stacked.
So I just ran a tankathon. I did about like 5 lottery simulations. First pick, Dallas Mavericks jumped up 7. First overall, they take Darren Peterson. Second, jumping up 10 spots, the Chicago Bulls get Cam Boozer.
Oh, yeah.
And then third is Portland getting AG DeBonza.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, like first and foremost, like if we get a top 3, I don't care who we pick. Like, I'm just happy. But like it's more so also just about like, let's say if you can find a way to get up these tank standings, then the worst you can be is a certain number, right? So if you get up to 6th, right, best odds, then the worst you can be is 10th. Because the unfortunate reality is that if the Bulls are stuck in 12th right now, like Milwaukee, who's right now behind us, like they could jump up and suddenly get to 13th, and it's just like, oh, okay, well, that's rough. So we found a way to fall back a spot, which is not what we want. So it's not. I'm not saying it's ideal. Like, this is not ideal. I'm not saying this is like the solution. It's just that I don't really see a much better, less risky option, honestly, because people think the lottery is risky, but I'm like, well, here's the issue. I think everything right now for the Bulls, if you're going to be trying to make this team better now, is extremely risky. This is, though, no matter what, you're getting someone, ideally, if you can find a way to be bad enough, that you'll get someone in the top 10 this draft. So
I want to circle back to a point you said earlier, later, but I want to build off what you're saying now. The Bulls, like everyone's saying that, who's saying it's risky, don't realize how unrealistic it is to go out and trade for like Giannis. Yeah, the biggest story right now. Giannis reportedly is in talks of requesting a trade, but yeah, let's just say he requested a trade. It is what it is. He wants out of Milwaukee. The only advantage the Bulls have against other teams is our expiring contracts. Milwaukee's a small market. That would be appealing to them. Let's get out of this huge bill, lower it next year. But aside from that, we don't have much to really offer them. Our picks, maybe, but then it's like they don't have their own, and I don't know if they're going to have the pedigree to go, hey, Portland, can you give us back our picks and then give you this one or that one? Like, that's just so much extra legwork they have to do. Mm-hmm. They're in a tough spot overall, so that might not be as appealing to them in case they do want to try to salvage their team. And then another one, Anthony Davis. We talked about it last episode. Made out of glass, so we could still be where we're at now. He's on the team. It's not. I'd much rather at this point see what we could get out of our players. It's not even so much about the pick. We were talking about this before we started recording, and I will probably get some flack for this, which I don't care, because you got to adapt to the way the NBA is now. I like to see Modest Buzelis run some point guard. I like him to play the 3, the 2, the 1. I'm so tired of him being relegated to this 4. He doesn't need to be this big body. He can handle the ball. He's wiry. Why not? The NBA is getting taller. There was a report about it back when I was in high school. It's coming to fruition now. There's a report back on it not too long ago, or even when Kevin Durant and LeBron were talking about it with Steve Nash. It's the truth. I would like to see him play. Jason Kidd tried it with Giannis. He tried it with Cooper Flag. Look how both are turning out now. It's important to try to elevate his ceiling. I always think when an organization should either lower their ceiling or increase it. And for once, I like the Bulls to actually increase a player's ceiling. Because Matas Buzelis could be a special player. Who wins in this league wins. You always want to win.
Mm-hmm.
You got to do your best to do that in-house. You got Dalen Terry, inspiring deal. Let's see. Maybe he turns it around and actually looks like an NBA player. Who knows? But it's important we see that. It's not about the wins or losses at this point. Just where you don't have enough to trade for somebody. We talked about it last episode. You have one all-in move, but at this point, there's nothing. Even if you think the Bulls have a realistic chance to get Giannis, do you think the package is appealing enough to be at least half of the other 29 teams? Nope.
No, I was looking at all these other packages that these other like contending teams, which to make it clear, like I think that this is how bad I think that this Bulls team is currently right now. That contending teams have a better package right now available to go and give to the Milwaukee Bucks that is much more appealing than what I think the Bulls can offer. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, like, I mean, we love Matas here, right? I don't know how he's viewed around the league, but like we love him here, and like, you know, I'm sure maybe a lot of other teams do, but I'm just thinking, for example, let's just take the San Antonio Spurs for just 1 second, okay? Like they have Harper, they have Castle, who the Bucks are getting one of those two immediately. They have a bunch of other just tradable contracts on their books. Like they have everything available to them right now, plus all these extra picks, which like they did send a lot out in the Fox deal, but they still have enough. Like Harper and Castle alone are like very, very intriguing. The Houston Rockets are like another team that I'm like, man, like Houston, like they just got Kevin Durant. And I'm thinking to myself, like they actually have a chance. Like you trade Fred VanVleet, you trade Amon Thompson, you trade Tari Eason, you trade like Jabari Smith Jr. Like there's all these guys you can just give out. And once again, it's just, this is to go off your point, like player development's key, because if you're going to put yourself in a position to try to get someone better, then you got to have the assets right there available that have shown on-court production to make it enticing for some of these teams. And I look at the Bulls and I'm just like, yeah, I don't know why I would go after you guys right now for any of your players. Like a lot of these guys, unfortunately, like it seems like a lot of teams don't really want them. And our picks, like, yeah, it's just our own. And so I always tell this to people where I'm like, the Anthony Davis trade, for example, which I know a lot of people are like, oh, we don't give up that much, we can still get AD. I'm like, well, I don't think AD makes us even a good team. I just think it makes us a mid team. So why would you trade for someone that's going to be 33 and he puts a timer on your roster? Like it's now or never with Anthony Davis. Like the last thing I want to hear from people is talk about, oh, let's trade for a Giannis or an Anthony Davis and like let's wait and see how it all works out. I'm like, no, like it's now or never. You don't wait around with these guys. It's you got to go win now, especially for Anthony Davis, who I unfortunately don't think has a lot of years left of like all-star level play. I think he'll still be solid, but in terms of being like an all NBA caliber player, like even now, I don't even know if he's that, but it's just like, it's just not something that I think it's going to last that much longer because of just how his game is and he's getting older. So yeah, it's for me at least, like I'm in full agreement with you with Buzelis, like, and I'm assuming you also mean this because you kind of said it, like, don't worry about what happens. Like, I don't really care about the end result, but what does need to happen though is that you need to make sure the process is right and give this guy this opportunity to actually expand his game, and give him the ball more. And, you know, I don't know if necessarily like, because the Cooper flag, for example, at point guard from Jason Kidd, that also got some flack, but and he's been having to deal with that criticism. And, you know, since like Ryan Nembhard's been the point guard, it's looked a lot better, but it's also just still though, they're doing a good job of still featuring him even when he's not playing point. And that's what the Bulls need to do more of. And at least in my opinion, it's so that they can build up with him. But, and no matter what, even if you're trying to win now, it's to build up his value if you want to potentially even move him later. Or then this goes for everybody, all these young players. And it's just so frustrating that just like, because I mean, you're laughing at me because it's like, you know, I shake my head no of like, yeah, like we don't have like a good Giannis package. It's funny in a terrible way, but it's just the reality. It's like I look at these other teams and I'm just like, I mean, the one team that people aren't talking about is Atlanta. And they have that pick from New Orleans, which is already the most like that's extremely enticing, which the Bulls should have that pick right now. We don't. But I mean, Atlanta has a ton of pieces that I'm looking at them, and you know, they've been kind of hovering around like this kind of play-in area for a bit as well. But they're just in a better spot. Like, and hell, this season's been great for them. Like that's without Trae Young. And they're out there. Jalen Johnson looks incredible. And like, it went from in my head, like, oh, you trade Jalen Johnson and others. Well, it's like, no, I'm keeping Jalen Johnson and I'm trading like Trae Young and some other pieces that pick, and we'll send it to Milwaukee. And then we got Jalen Johnson and Giannis together with Nickeil Alexander-Walker, who's a most improved player candidate. Like, that's what I'm looking at right now. There's a lot going on to me that's like, that's a better package and more enticing for Giannis also.
Like, first and foremost, I think Atlanta probably had the best offseason in the league. When you look back on it, like, they have that pick and Nickeil Alexander-Walker, who's not making that much for that level of production he's doing.
Nah.
But then as for the Bulls, you can't draft well, and you don't value your picks either. But the league does. If you look at a team like the Knicks, they had to look at themselves in the mirror and say, hey, we can't do this development stuff. We cannot. Mm-hmm. So all their players are acquired via trade. We're going to build up these tiny picks. They might not matter. This one's protected a little bit. This is a few seconds. But eventually they accumulate where you can go out, get a Karl Anthony Towns. If I'm the Bulls, I would try to look at that, because the silver lining is Giddey. Everyone's like, oh, well, you're being too hard on Giddey. He's 22 years old. Well, now we can use that for our advantage, where, okay, we can just scrap this season because Giddey's only 22, 23. Mm-hmm. We're not going to be worrying about, we only have this small window of time. No, you have a lot of time.
Yes.
Where, okay, we could scrap this. I'm looking at the Clippers, the Memphis, where, for example, the Clippers, they have John Collins, who's shown he could be a high-level player, who's still relatively young, expiring good deal, who could probably fit the Bulls, more talented than Dalen Terry, Phillips, P. Will. I will try to see what's going on there. An expiring for an expiring. Maybe you could get back, if they would like Vucevic, because they always want to compete, get back a second. That's something. You have out. You accumulate you build around the margins, because eventually you're gonna have a good body of work where you can make a daring trade, and it doesn't cost you an arm and a leg. Mm-hmm. But that's not. The Bulls are putting themselves in the position where they're not in these. I'm laughing when you're saying they don't have a shot at Giannis. They're putting themselves in these positions rather than, okay, maybe we're a sleeper team where we can go out and do this, or, sucks, we traded for so-and-so. We could still bounce back, though. It's not the end of the world. They're not in that position whatsoever.
Yeah. And maybe for John Collins, right, like, we'll see what happens this offseason, but you just said he's expiring, right? Well, I mean, not sure how much he's going to want. I'm going to assume his contract's will be less than what he's making now, but Bulls have some money. Like, that's a way also for the Bulls if they want to do things right, which is, don't mess up your salary cap space this upcoming offseason, which is very important, unless you're making some proper moves now and using it. But, maybe getting a John Collins to just kind of come on in and sign up to like a 2-year deal or something like that. Like that, maybe he'll help you now. But if let's say he doesn't end up helping you now, like you said, like he's a potential guy that has some quality play in him, that maybe you find a way to move him or something like that, and you can either package him with another piece, or you can just trade him away for other stuff. Like, you have to find ways to get value right now. And right now, I mean, until December 15th hits, there's not going to be many trades happening because of just the rules. But I'm looking forward to seeing what the Bulls are going to be doing to try to increase their overall value for the team that is currently playing for them right now. Especially for these other guys that are having got a lot of playing time so far. Like, well, let's see if you can increase the value just in general for the team itself, and maybe we keep you around for a little bit, but maybe we got to think about moving you also. But what can we get out of you instead if we decide to move on from you?
I feel like we touched on him a little bit, but Noah Senge's on that track for those guys where he's just going to be – I want to know your thoughts on it. is he just going to be another P. Will, Dalen Terry, Julian Phillips, where
Mhm.
they struggle to get in the roster, struggle to get on the court, finding their identity, and then before you know it, we're talking about the same things. We're talking about them, and then we have another guy who's in the same mold, waiting to see what he can do. But now we're saying, oh, we need Noah Zenye off the court. Why is he trying? Why did we give him an extension? Like, is this just going to be a pattern that we'll see with him?
So here's the thing with Asenge that I just don't understand. Like, because like Patrick Williams, I mean, we tried with him and like we give him a lot of playing time. He's just been bad. Like that's that case. But like, I mean, Asenge is a lottery pick. You got to play him, man. And the injury is extremely unfortunate. It's like the worst possible injury for him because he's supposed to add weight and now he's a shoulder issue that he can't lift weights anymore. It's just like, so like it basically put a year of development on complete pause, which is very disgusting just in terms of timeline. But I hope it doesn't end up being the same. I hate how they've just either had him at the end of the bench when he could have been in the G League, or if you're going to have him with the team, you got to play him. Because we're kind of having these conversations about Dalen Terry because it's just like we haven't really seen a lot of him. Like he's gotten some minutes here and there. It's been inconsistent play, but it's like, yeah, we don't really know. Like we don't really know what we're going to get out of him. And Julian Phillips, like, I can kind of understand with his sort of, play of like, okay, yeah, like he's a second rounder. That's, sure. It's hard to kind of break in as a second rounder in general. But it goes back to my Billy and just how the team is kind of operating with these guys. It's like this old school mentality of like, no, you got to play your way in and take advantage of like your 30-second stints or whatever. Just like, yep, go out there and perform well. In my opinion, I think Asenge is gonna like he to me looks like a perfect player for this current league right now, assuming he's able to add some weight. Like he already, I think, if he can just find a way onto the floor, can be much more impactful defensively than a lot of these other guys already. But it's going to require for him, obviously, to get the mental game right and add in some weight so he's not just going to be knocked around out there. But he, like, his combine numbers, you can almost argue that they're almost better than what Buzelis was able to put up there. And that's something that I think some people are looking at as like, yeah, like the handle doesn't look great, but he moves really well for being 6'10", so I guess 6'9", but like he moves really well for his overall length. So I hope it's not gonna be the same. It's like he's not built like P. Will, who is now listed at 6'6", so there's that. But like he's not Patrick Williams, in my opinion, because I don't think he's like built this like smaller body for a wing, but can't really play guard. Is too slow for a guard. DT is also very thin, but he's not as big. And Julian Phillips is like kind of in a similar category, but he has that verticality difference over everyone. But I'm gonna hope with Asenge it's not gonna be the same. But unfortunately, we're just kind of in the dark right now because they didn't play him, and he could have gotten a lot more time in the G League, which he's done well in the G League this season. But like, I wish he got more. So it's just yet again, like I hope the priority for then even next season, if again, depending on this offseason goes here, but you got to prioritize these guys and try to make sure that they get this time. I'm not saying you got to play them a ton of minutes, but you got to make sure that someone like Asenge in his second season is going to get some proper time out there to see what we actually have.
No, I agree. He averaged about like 23 points in the G League and 7 rebounds. At that point, like when you're dominating that much, we got to see what you can do, especially as a full. He sits 10 is what a lot of people forget. That's such a major track difference compared to all the other wins we have. I know some people where there's a little bit of murmurs about, oh, let's try him at center, but you want to have a taller, more skilled player. You want to have you want to throw another team off when, all right, your point guard sits 8, you have your 2 forwards sits 10, and then you have a 7-footer. Then your shooting guard could be sits 5 in Kobe White. That's great. You could hold so many teams like that because you see on Dallas, Ryan Nimhard, he's a bit shorter. Brunson, a bit shorter. Yeah, they're stocky, but you could only go through so many trees. But they instead just want to play small ball and just have all these tweeners that like they aren't. They're not strong enough to defend the forwards, but not fast enough to defend the guards. They're kind of just there.
So just want to clarify like my comments, like the draft comments. Like Asenge, we didn't get a lot from him because he was still playing, but his lane agility time was 10.7 seconds. Cooper Flagg's was 10.64. Okay, so we're talking a 0.06 second difference. His 3/4 sprint was 3.1 seconds. Cooper Flagg's was 3.3. So he was faster than Cooper Flagg. Like I'm not saying that, like, yeah, they're not the same player, obviously, right now. Cooper Flagg's a generational talent, it looks like. But to say that, like, oh, he's like, there's certain issues with his body of, like, oh, he's too slow or whatever, or he's not going to be able to keep up the speed or whatever. I'm like, I don't think that's right. I just don't. And to put it in perspective, like, his lane agility time was faster than Buzelis, and his 3/4 sprint was basically on par with Buzelis. Buzelis at 3.09. His Buzelis is for 3/4 sprint, and then the lane agility time, Buzelis was 10.73, so he was slower. So I'm just saying that, like, if I'm watching Buzelis out there and he can still hang out there, and yes, it's been a little bit of a weird kind of year, but I'm just thinking to myself, like, I don't understand why why Asenge can't get just some time and just see what we have. Like, do I think Buzelis is more kind of polished as a player right now? Yeah, his handle's better, but I think that you can find time for Asenge, especially next season. I don't see any sort of excuse why you can't figure some time in. That's not to say that, all combine measurements mean everything, but I think there's just been some comments that just are like, oh no, like his overall just kind of how he moves, how his body is just not up to NBA par. And I'm like, I just disagree. I think I'm seeing a lot of other people that are slower that are coming on in and they're just fine. So I don't know. No,
I agree. It's that, like, you're never going to be fully ready to do something. That's a general rule of life. Mm-hmm. And at a certain point, you have to cut your losses with Dalen, with Julian, with P. Will. And all right, let's move on. We have Asenge here on this 4-year deal that's going to go by really fast. I don't care how young he is, just try it. And the Bulls have only made themselves look worse in this situation. It's not Asenge's fault. But then when you don't trade for that Pelicans pick that Joe Dumars said he offered.
Yeah.
And it makes it worse when reports come out that, teams didn't understand the protections on the pick. You get paid to do this. What do you mean you don't understand? You get paid to do this. You get paid to understand what that means.
Mm-hmm.
And then you don't draft Derek Queen either. You don't draft him, and you tell Billy Donovan to go watch him, but keep your eye on this kid, and waste his time and not draft him, and him not be doesn't seem like he's happy about it either. That was a very much like, hey, that's not me. That was them. Like he was covering his own ass, is pretty much, like, for a lack of a better word. It just made them look horrible. Asenge only played 6 minutes in the league. 6 minutes.
Yeah.
That's god awful. They oh my gosh, this is not. It's no fault of his doing, and the Bulls are just gonna try to derail his career. It feels like it sucks to say, sucks to be doom and gloom, but that's where it's headed.
To maybe end the podcast, let me ask you this question, because I think that this has been a horrible stretch, and if the front office is truly about, like, no, we're supposed to be winning this season. We're supposed to be better than the 9 seed last season, right? Because we got the 9 seed last year. Well, this is some bad teams we just lost to. Like, front office says, and Billy says that they have a great relationship, but I'm just thinking to myself, well, I mean, the team is not performing. Like, is that relationship still actually good? Because it just seems like that they're just always like buddy, no matter what happens. Like, we're great, but I don't know. I feel like that maybe a lot of coaches right now in this moment would probably be on the hot seat. But I know that the front office and Billy have had such a great relationship. I mean, do you think that that's ever a possibility?
No.
Like, it's just never going to ever happen where they're going to end up breaking that friendship apart.
It's only when their jobs are at risk. Right now, both parties sign a contract extension. Mm-hmm. They're cool. They're cool. But right when it's gonna get a little, they're still losing. Still nothing like contract extension's almost up. Yeah, Billy. I'm gonna save myself and do the go-to move for every front office and get them out of here. but they're fine. We haven't heard no report. Typically after this, we hear interviews from the team, interviews by players, interviews by the coach, something from the front, but it's just silent.
Yeah.
It keeps being silent.
Which, I mean, at least in my opinion, I just it doesn't give me much hope for then moving forward this season, because I think they're going to continue trying to win and still going out there and, you know, Billy's going to play his vets. They're not going to try to really prioritize too much player development, and then when it comes to their draft pick, it's not going to look the best still. So I'm going to pretty much right now just really hope that we're going to see, like, the one thing I can really hope for is Buzelis gets some on-ball opportunities. That's what I'm really going to hope for. And if there's anything to watch for, that's what it is. But I'm going to hope that they prove me wrong and Billy kind of does what I think is what should be happening, which is, all right, results don't really matter too much right now. And he can show this himself just by who he plays. It's up to him of if you can tell, like, if we're still trying to win or if we're trying just to develop guys. But I'm going to hope that we see a lot more of just these younger players out there on the floor and get their time in now, because it's an important offseason coming up.
Oh yeah. I agree. That's all I hope for. I want to just see more on-ball reps with Buzelis. Everything else I could, as Billy Donovan says, ball it up and throw it in the trash. That's pretty much it. All I could hope for. Let's see, we have a better outing in the Pacers this time on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
Any final thoughts?
Get to this break next week and hopefully reset and get healthy. One of my quotes right now, I'm telling a lot of people is like I'm not here to tell you to continue to be a Bulls fan, but I'm still going to be watching this team. So if you're ever questioning, why are you watching? Like, this seems miserable. It's miserable, but you and I are both diehards. Like, we're going to be diehards until we die. And we cared even when this team has just been pretty terrible. But I still think that in my opinion, it's so important to watch, especially if we can see Buzelis, who I think he's done pretty decent recently. And I'm going to hope we see just some more on-ball reps, and I'm going to hope for just better play and be praying alongside everyone else to just be like, all right, let's just not go out there and just be flat out disgustingly terrible.
I'm right there with you, Duncan. I really am. I hope next week we come on here and we have a good discussion about anything positive, anything at all. Mm-hmm. I don't care at this point. Whether it be, Anthony Davis trade that we fleeced them somehow, which I don't know how we would do.
Yeah.
But just literally anything positive, because it's rough to watch. It's rough to talk about.
For sure.
All right. Thank you so much. If you've listened to this, again, made it all the way towards the end, I appreciate you so much. This is Alejandro. This is Duncan. Duncan, can you tell our viewers where to find you?
Yep. You'll be finding me after every game doing post-game streams at youtube.com/@theslamduncan, and you'll be finding me on Twitter. That's on the bottom of the screen here at Duncan_White14.
Perfect. And you can check out our written work at ontapsportsnet.com. Right there, you check out Duncan's latest columns, mine's as well. We have great written work. Thank you so much for watching. Catch you in the next episode. Go Bulls.
Yeah, kind of go Bulls.
Go Bulls.